Welcome back to the channel, guys. In today's video we're back on the lathe machining the conical centering tool for brake disc. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Okay, so I fitted this into the chuck. I'm going to start machining. Okay, so I'm going to leave this like this, because at the end of the day I'm going to machine all this out. So as you see me spending a lot of time facing this perfectly, this is all going to be machined out. So I've got a couple of reference lines here. So now I'm going to actually strip the chuck off to get the actual measurements of what this recess must be here. Okay, so these are the bolts that I've been talking about. This is the back plate of the lathe. Obviously the chuck bolts onto that, and it's held by that cap screw, that cap screw, that one. So there's four cap screws in here. I'm going to take that out now, then I'm going to measure what the recess is inside here. Okay, got them all loose now. So she should pop. There we go. Okay, that's the recess that I spoke about. So I must measure that, because that I must machine onto that round disc to resemble this chuck, so that it can sit nice and home inside there. Okay, let's do some measuring. Okay, got my trusty vernier. $130 millimeters. Let's just check this side here. Yep, 130. So now we know the OD here, or the ID on the disc, must be 130. And the depth, let's just get a smaller vernier. Okay, got my smaller vernier now. Let's just check what this depth is here. Well, look, like this depth is like 3.5 millimeter, more or less 3.5. Just check this here quickly. if we go into this thing is 5, call it 5.3. So obviously this thing doesn't seem as if this thing sits flush inside there, because this is 5.3 and this recess here is 3.5. So this sits on this, but this isn't home on there. So this obviously centralizes this chuck on here. Okay, so then at least I want to machine my disc the way this chuck is 5.5, 130. Okay, let's put the chuck back and start machining the disc. Okay, so I got the centered roll now in the chuck, and I'm going to start with a hole for the shaft, because that shaft is going to be the center of this tool. So no matter how many times I machine this here, the center will always be different every time I put this back into the chuck. So I'll have to put the shaft in and then use the shaft as the center. Okay, so here we go. Okay, so I stuck the boring bar in because that is the biggest I could probably go with this chuck on this lathe. So it's time to open this up. Okay, that was my last cut. Still the rough cuts. This isn't the final size, because the final sizes will only be machined once this is mounted to the back plate. That's when the final size will only be machined. Because then everything will run true. So at this present moment, I'm measuring 37 millimeter, and the shaft that must go in there 40 millimeter. Remember, the shaft must actually go in here. It's actually in there like that. So I'll machine this last size once this is on there, because then it will be running through to the back plate of the lathe. Okay, get in there. So this is the rough finish. So to the final cut when it comes to size, so it must be 130 across here, and obviously 5 mil deep. At present it is 5.5, but when I face this here and when I do this final face in here, I'll bring it down to size, with this being 130 ID here. So what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to face this area here, just get the scaling off, and then I'm going to start at the final machine in here. There we go. I'll just put some final cuts through this, chamfer the edge through this face here, get this 130 here through that face, and then I must just drill the 3 holes, and we should be okay. Okay, perfect. That's my final cut for the Audi. I'm going to put a chamfer here, then I'm going to final cut this, and then work on the inside here. It's looking good so far. Okay, so I'm finished machining this inside here. I measured that was 130.05. Hopefully that will climb onto the lip that's inside here, which was 130. And I gave it a bit of a chamfer, just a small chamfer, just a small lead there, just to enter that. So I'm going to take this out of the chuck now. I'm going to remove the chuck and see if this fits. So on that note, I'm ending this video, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Until the next one.